the COVID pandemic hit and everybody was home. I was used to being home alone during the day for work, and all of the stuff that I did to cope with this loss, like binge eating and self-harm and shopping and all, and just being angry, because that's all I was for years, was angry. They kind of required secrecy. And now everybody's home and we're crammed into this house and we can't go anywhere. And I don't know what to do. So I said, I'm going for a walk. And like I said, I hadn't slept in years. I'd gained all this weight and I walked, took my dog and we walked to the end of the street, which is like a tenth of a mile. And I had to take a break. And it sucked. It was awful. And while I was walking, I was like, effing Teddy, like, you should be here. This is the one thing you would be prepared for. I went home and I said, I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. And I just kept doing it. And I kept talking to my brother. And eventually I got a little nicer towards him. And eventually I moved off of my street, which I had never walked off of my street ever. And then one day I was walking like, I don't know, 10 miles, right? And I wasn't really noticing. I was sleeping a little bit better. I was feeling better mentally. And then one night I was just scrolling the internet and I saw this thing for American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, a marathon in a month. And I thought, I could do that fundraiser in Teddy's memory, because it was around the time of his anniversary. So I said, I'll commit to 300 miles, not really comprehending like what that's about 10 miles a day. And I thought, well, how can I make this more meaningful? And what would Teddy do? And I said, I'm going to dedicate every day to somebody lost to suicide. And so every day as I'm doing these walks, whether it was on my lunch break or before work or after work or in a parking lot during somebody's soccer practice, like I felt myself healing. I was trying to do something for others the way that my brother would have done, but I felt myself healing as well. And so after the end of the month, I got an email from AFSP saying, we invite you to apply for our Boston Marathon charity team. It hadn't run since 1990. So I was like, okay. So I applied and I was accepted. My brother loved the Boston Marathon. And I remember being at mile 20 something and thinking, Teddy, like, what did I get myself into? I cannot finish this. And I hear my name from the crowd, like my maiden name, Jen Fusco. And I look up and it's a girl I went to high school with. And I was like, Peggy Dyer. I'm like, what are you doing here? And she said, oh, my husband's running. He's about 10 minutes behind you. She goes, what are you doing here? I said, what the F does it look like I'm doing? I'm running the Boston Marathon. And that was like all I needed, because in my head, I was like, thank you, Teddy. Every race, there's like a Teddy moment like that. And I always save my last mile for my brother, no matter how many others I'm running for. And I find myself smiling in that last mile because I feel like we did this together.